The rooftop was alive with laughter, clinking glasses, and the pulse of a city that never slept. But my world stopped when I saw them. Ethan. My Ethan. The man whose smile had been my anchor for 3 years. Leaned in and kissed his co-star, Julian, under the glow of string lights. My heart shattered, the pieces burning as I turned and walked away, tears blurring the skyline of Philadelphia. I'd always known Ethan's world was bigger than mine. He was 26, a rising actor with a face that could steal breaths and a laugh that filled rooms. I was just Sam, 25, a graphic designer who preferred quiet nights to red carpets. We'd met at a small theater fundraiser, where Ethan's charm had pulled me into his orbit. 3 years later, here we were weren't at our anniversary party, surrounded by his industry friends, their glamour a stark contrast to my faded jeans and nervous smile. The night had started with promise. I'd spent weeks planning this party at the Bellevue, a historic hotel with a rooftop that screamed celebration. Ethan had been filming a new movie, Starfall, for months, and I'd barely seen him. This was supposed to be our night, a chance to reconnect, to remind him of us. I'd even designed custom invitations, each one a sketch of the moment he'd first said, "I love you," under a street lamp in Rittenhouse Square. But as the night unfolded, Ethan was everywhere but with me. He floated through the crowd, his charisma a magnet, drawing producers, agents, and his co-star, Julian, into his glow. Julian was 27, effortlessly confident, with sharp cheekbones and a smile that seemed to know secrets. I watched them laugh, their shoulders brushing, and felt a knot tighten in my chest. "Sam, you okay?" My best friend, Mia, peered at my side, her voice soft but piercing. She was 24, a barista with a knack for reading me better than I read myself. "Yeah," I lied, sipping my drink to hide the tremor in my hands. "Just taking it all in." She followed my gaze to Ethan and Julian, now deep in conversation near the bar. "He's just networking," she said, but her tone lacked conviction. I wanted to believe her. Ethan had always been a flirt. It was part of his charm, part of why I'd fallen for him. But this felt different. The way Julian leaned closer, the way Ethan's eyes linger at it wasn't just networking. It was something alive, something that didn't include me. The party hummed on, the city skyline a glittering backdrop to my growing unease. I tried to mingle, to laugh at the right moments, but my eyes kept finding Ethan. He was telling a story now, his hands animated, Julian hanging on every word. I felt like a ghost, invisible in my own celebration. Then it happened. The music slowed, a soft jazz number filling the air. Ethan and Julian stepped onto the makeshift dance floor, their movements easy, intimate. The crowd parted, giving them space, and I stood frozen, my glass cold against my palm. Ethan's hand rested on Julian's waist, their faces inches apart. And then, as if the world had conspired to break me, Ethan leaned in and kissed him. It wasn't a peck. It was a kiss that spoke of familiarity, of moments I hadn't been privy to. The crowd murmured, some clapping, others whispering. I felt Mia's hand on my arm, but it was distant, like a memory. My vision blurred, tears stinging as I set my glass down and walked toward the exit. The elevator ride down was a haze. I stumbled into the street, the cool September air hitting my face like a slap. Philadelphia pulsed around Mecker's honking. Pedestrians laughing, but I was alone. The weight of 3 years crashing down. I walked aimlessly, my phone buzzing in my pocket. Ethan's name flashed on the screen, but I couldn't answer. Not yet. I needed to understand what I'd just seen, what it meant for us. Had I been naive, believing our love could withstand the pull of his world? I ended up at Rittenhouse Square, the park where we'd shared our first kiss. The street lamp still stood, its light casting a soft glow on the benches below. I sat, my breath shaky, and let the memories flood in. Ethan's laugh, the way he'd pull me close during late-night walks, the promises we'd made. But now, those promises felt like lies. Mia found me an hour later, her face etched with worry. Sam, he's looking for you. He's freaking out. Let him, I said, my voice hollow. I need to know why. She sat beside me, silent for a moment. You deserve answers. But you also deserve better than chasing someone who makes you feel like this. Her words stung, but they were true. I spent 3 years building a life with Ethan. But tonight, I'd seen a side of him I didn't know. A side that belonged to Julian, to a world I'd never fully fit into. As the night deepened, I stared at the street lamp, its light unwavering. I didn't know what came next, but I knew I couldn't go back to the rooftop, to the party, to the life I'd thought was mine. Not until I understood what Ethan's kiss meant and whether my heart could survive it. The park was quiet now, the hum of the city a distant murmur. I sat on the bench, clutching my phone, Ethan's missed calls stacking up like accusations. Mia stayed with me, her presence a lifeline. But my mind was a storm of questions. When had Ethan and Julian become so close? Had I missed the signs? Or had I chosen not to see them? I replayed the last few months. Ethan's late nights on set. His vague texts about work stuff. The way he'd started mentioning Julian casually too casually. Julian's great with improv. He'd say, or Julian knows this amazing taco spot. I'd brushed it off, chalking it up to professional admiration. But now, those moments felt like cracks in the foundation of us. Talk to me, Sam, Mia said, her voice gentle but firm. What's going through your head? I don't know, I admitted, my throat tight. I thought we were solid. 3 years. Mia. 3 years of building something real. And now, this. She nodded, her eyes soft with understanding. You need to talk to him. Not tonight. Maybe. But soon. You can't let this eat you up. I knew she was right. But the thought of facing Ethan, of hearing him explain that kiss, terrified me. What if he confirmed my worst fears? What if he didn't love me anymore? My phone buzzed again, not Ethan this time, but a text from my sister, Lily, 22, who was studying art in New York. Heard about the party. You okay? I typed back a quick I'm fine, but my fingers hesitated. Lily had always been my confidant, the one who'd cheered loudest when Ethan and I got together. She'd seen how much I loved him, how I'd rearranged my life to fit his. I couldn't bring myself to tell her yet. Instead, I stood, brushing off my jeans. I need to walk, I told Mia. Clear my head. She hugged me tightly. I'm here. Okay. Whenever you're ready. I wandered through Philadelphia's streets, the city's energy a stark contrast to the emptiness inside me. I passed the Liberty Bell, its glass enclosure glowing under floodlights, a symbol of freedom that felt ironic tonight. Freedom was the last thing I felt. I was trapped in a loop of memories and doubts, each one sharper than the last. By the time I reached my apartment in Old City, it was past midnight. The small loft, filled with sketches and photos of Ethan and me, felt like a museum of a life that no longer existed. I sank onto the couch, staring at a framed drawing I'd made of us last summer, laughing at a beach in Cape May. My phone lit up again. Ethan. This time, I answered, my voice barely above a whisper. What do you want? Sam. Oh my God. Where are you? His voice was frantic, laced with something I couldn't place: guilt, maybe, or fear. I've been looking everywhere. I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? I asked, my tone sharp. For kissing him. For humiliating me in front of everyone. It wasn't like that, he said quickly. Can I come over? Please. Let me explain. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to slam the door shut, to protect what was left of my heart. But another part, the part that still loved him, needed answers. Fine, I said. But don't expect me to make this easy. He arrived 20 minutes later, his hair disheveled, his eyes red. He looked like the Ethan I'd fallen for, vulnerable and real, but I couldn't unsee the kiss. He sat across from me, the coffee table a barrier between us. Sam, I didn't mean for that to happen. He started, his voice low. It was a moment, a stupid moment. Julian and we've been working so closely, and things got blurred. But it's you I love. It's always been you. Blurred. I echoed, my anger flaring. Ethan, you kissed him at our anniversary party. In front of everyone. Do you know what that felt like? He winced, running a hand through his hair. I know. I messed up. But it wasn't planned. It was the heat of the moment. The music. The crowd, it got to me. I wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at me. How long has this been going on? You and Julian. Don't lie to me. He looked away, and that silence said more than words could. Nothing's been going on, he said finally. Not like that. We're just close. He gets the pressure I'm under. The industry stuff. But it's not what you think. Then what is it? I pressed, my voice breaking. Because from where I was standing, it looked like you chose him over me. He reached for my hand, but I pulled back. Sam, I love you, he said, his eyes pleading. I'm an idiot, but I don't want to lose you. Please, give me a chance to fix this. I stared at him, torn between the love I still felt and the pain he'd caused. I need time, I said finally. I can't just pretend this didn't happen. He nodded, his face crumpling. Okay, I'll wait, however long it takes. After he left, I sat in the dark, the weight of his words settling over me. I wanted to trust him, to believe we could rebuild. But the image of that kiss burned in my mind. A reminder that love, even when real, could break you. The next morning, sunlight streamed through my apartment's windows. But it did little to lift the fog in my chest. I hadn't slept, my mind replaying Ethan's words, his kiss with Julian, the way my heart had fractured. I needed to get out, to breathe. So I grabbed my sketchbook and headed to Fairmount Park. The park was alive with joggers and families, the Schuylkill River glinting under the September sun. I found a quiet bench and started sketching, letting the pencil move without thought. The lines formed Ethan's face, then Julian's, their expressions tangled in my memory. I tore the page out, crumpling it. My phone buzzed a text from Lily. I'm in town. Coffee. I met her at a cafe in Center City. This cozy vibe a stark contrast to my mood. Lily, with her wild curls and painter's smock, hugged me tightly. You look like hell, she said, her bluntness softening with concern. Thanks, I muttered, stirring my latte. Spill, she said, leaning forward. What happened at the party? I told her everything. The party, the kiss, Ethan's apology. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. He kissed his co-star. At your anniversary. Sam, that's not okay. I know, I said, my voice small. But he says it was a mistake. That he loves me. Lily sighed, sipping her coffee. Love doesn't mean you get a free pass to hurt someone. You need to figure out what you want, not what he's selling you. Her words echoed Mia's, and they stung because they were true. I'd spent so long building my world around Ethan. But what was left of me? I was more than his partner. More than the guy who planned perfect anniversaries. I was Sam. And I needed to remember who that was. That afternoon, I went to my studio, a small rented space where I worked on freelance projects. The walls were covered in my design's logos, posters, sketches that told stories I couldn't say out loud. I started a new piece, a chaotic abstract of reds and blues, pouring my anger and hurt onto the canvas. As I worked, my phone lit up with a voicemail from Ethan. Sam, I know you need space, but I'm not giving up. I'm doing an interview tomorrow for Starfall. It's live on Philly's morning show. Watch it. Please. I want to show you I'm serious about us. I didn't respond, but his voice lingered, tugging at the part of me that still loved him. I kept painting, the colors bleeding together like my emotions. By evening, the canvas was a storm, and I felt lighter, like I'd released something. The next day, I watched the interview from my couch, my heart pounding. Ethan looked polished, his smile dazzling under the studio lights. The host, a cheerful woman named Carla, gushed about Starfall. And Ethan, tell us about working with Julian Voss. You two have incredible chemistry. My stomach twisted, but Ethan's smile faltered. Julian's a great actor, he said carefully. But honestly, the real chemistry in my life is with someone else. Someone who's been my rock for 3 years. Sam, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. I love you, and I'm going to prove it. The host blinked, clearly surprised, but recovered with a laugh. Well, that's a scoop. Sam's a lucky guy. I turned off the TV, my hands shaking. Ethan's words were raw, public, a declaration I hadn't expected. But they didn't erase the kiss, didn't undo the hurt. I needed more than words, I needed truth. I called Mia. He mentioned me on live TV. I said, my voice unsteady. Said he loves me. Wow, she said. That's big. But what do you feel? I don't know. I admitted. Part of me wants to run to him. Part of me wants to run away. Then don't decide yet, she said. Give yourself time. You're worth that. I hung up, staring at my painting. The reds and blues seemed to pulse, a reflection of my heart's tug of war. Ethan's apology was a step, but it wasn't enough. I needed to know if his love was stronger than his world, stronger than Julian, and I needed to know if I was strong enough to find out. Days passed, each one a battle between hope and doubt. Ethan kept reaching out texts, voicemails. Even a handwritten note slipped under my door. I'm not giving up on us, Sam. Let me make this right. I read it over and over, but I couldn't bring myself to reply. Not yet. I threw myself into work, designing a campaign for a local nonprofit. The distraction helped. But Ethan was everywhere, in billboards for Starfall, in social media clips, his face a reminder of what we'd had and what I'd lost. Worse, Julian was often beside him, their chemistry undeniable even in grainy ex-posts. One evening, I met Lily at an art gallery in Fishtown. Her paintings were on display, vibrant abstracts that pulsed with life. As we walked through the exhibit, she nudged me. You've been quiet. Still thinking about him. Always, I said, staring at a canvas of swirling greens. He's trying, Lily, but I keep seeing that kiss. She squeezed my arm. You don't have to decide now, but don't let his world swallow yours. You're an artist, Sam. Create something for you. Her words stuck with me. That night, I started a new sketch, not of Ethan or Julian, but of myself standing alone, strong, under a sky of stars. It was rough, but it felt honest, like a piece of me I'd forgotten. The next day, Mia dragged me to a queer community event in the neighborhood. A block party with music and food trucks. You need to live a little, she said, handing me a rainbow cupcake. I tried to smile, but the crowd felt overwhelming, their joy a contrast to my turmoil. Then I saw him, Julian, standing near a stage, signing autographs. My heart stopped. He was alone, his usual confidence softened by the casual setting. Before I could turn away, he spotted me. Sam, he called, walking over. I froze, my throat dry. What do you want? I owe you an apology, he said, his voice sincere. That night, I didn't know it was your anniversary. I got caught up in the moment. I'm sorry. His words caught me off guard. You kissed him back, I said, my voice sharp. You knew he was with me. I did, he admitted, looking down. And I shouldn't have. Ethan and we got close on set. Too close. But he loves you, Sam. He's a mess without you. I didn't know what to say. Julian's apology was unexpected, but it didn't erase the pain. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because you deserve the truth, he said. And because I'm stepping back. I don't want to be the reason you two fall apart. He walked away, leaving me stunned. I didn't know if I could trust him, but his words shifted something in me. Maybe Ethan wasn't the only one who'd blurred lines. Maybe Julian had been caught in the same whirlwind. That night, I called Ethan. "We need to talk," I said. "In person. Tomorrow." He agreed, his voice thick with relief. We met at a small diner in South Philly. The kind of place where the coffee was strong and the booths were worn. Ethan looked nervous, his fingers tapping the table. "I've been a wreck," he said. "I know I hurt you, Sam. I need you to know it wasn't about love. It was ego. Maybe. The spotlight. Julian and I got swept up in it." "Then why didn't you stop?" I asked, my voice steady despite the ache. "Why did it have to be at our party?" He looked down, his hands still. "I don't have a good answer. I was stupid, caught up in the moment. But I choose you, Sam. Every time." His words were what I'd wanted to hear, but they felt fragile, like glass. "I need more than words," I said. "I need to trust you again. And I don't know if I can." He nodded, his eyes glistening. "I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy, time, anything. Just don't walk away." I didn't promise anything, but I agreed to try. As I left the diner, I felt a spark of hope, but it was tempered by fear. Love was a risk, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to take it again. The weeks that followed were a slow dance of healing and hesitation. Ethan and I started couples therapy, a suggestion from Mia that I'd resisted at first. Our therapist, Dr. Ellis, was a calm woman in her 50s who listened without judgment. In our first session, I laid it all bare: the kiss, the betrayal, the way I'd felt invisible. Ethan listened, his face pale. "I didn't realize how much I was pulling away," he said. "I got lost in the role, in the attention. I made you feel like you didn't matter, and that's the last thing I wanted." Dr. Ellis asked me what I needed to rebuild trust. I didn't have an answer. Not yet. But sitting there, hearing Ethan own his mistakes, felt like a start. Outside of therapy, we tried to reconnect. Ethan took a break from filming, spending more time in Philly. We went on quiet dates, walks along the Delaware River, dinners at hole-in-the-wall spots. He was trying, and I could see it, but the shadow of Julian lingered. One night, we went to a poetry slam in West Philly, a place we'd loved early in our relationship. The poet's words, raw, honest, cut through me. One spoke of love as a house, sturdy but tested by storms. I reached for Ethan's hand, and he squeezed it, his eyes meeting mine. "I'm here," he whispered. "I'm not going anywhere." But trust was a fragile thing. I started noticing small changes: Ethan checking his phone less, staying off social media, avoiding Starfall events where Julian would be. It helped, but it wasn't enough to erase the doubt. Then came the premiere of Starfall. Ethan invited me, his voice tentative. "I want you there, Sam. Not as a prop, but as my partner. If it's too much, I get it." I went, more for myself than for him. The theater was packed, the air buzzing with excitement. Ethan looked stunning in a tailored suit, but I saw the nerves in his eyes. Julian was there too, keeping his distance, his smile polite but reserved. The film was beautiful, Ethan's performance electric. But every scene with Julian felt like a knife. Their chemistry undeniable. When the lights came up, Ethan found me in the crowd, his hand slipping into mine. "Thank you for being here," he said. I nodded, my throat tight. "It's hard, Ethan, seeing you with him, even on screen." "I know," he said. "I'm sorry. I'll keep proving it to you." After the premiere, we walked through the city, the night cool and quiet. "I want us to start fresh," Ethan said. "No secrets, no distractions, just us." I wanted that too, but I wasn't sure if we could outrun the past. "It's not just about you," I said. "I need to find myself again. I lost pieces of me trying to keep up with your world." He stopped, turning to face me. "Then let me support you for once. Your art, your dreams. I want to be part of that." His words hit deep, a reminder of the Ethan I'd fallen for, the one who saw me, not just the spotlight. I didn't have all the answers, but for the first time in weeks, I felt like we were on the same page. Back at my apartment, I pulled out my sketchbook, showing Ethan the drawing I'd started of myself under the stars. "This is me," I said. "Not your partner, not the guy at the party, just Sam." He studied it, his eyes soft. "It's beautiful. You're beautiful." I didn't know if we'd make it, but in that moment, I felt seen, and that was enough to keep trying. Months passed, and our relationship became a work in progress. Like one of my canvases. Therapy helped us communicate, but it also unearthed deeper truths. Ethan admitted he'd been seduced by fame, by the rush of being wanted. I admitted I'd let myself shrink to fit his world, losing my own voice. We set boundaries: no more late-night set visits. No more blurring lines with co-stars. Ethan started attending my art shows, cheering louder than anyone when I sold a piece. I started saying no to events that didn't feel right, reclaiming my space. But the world didn't stop testing us. Starfall was a hit, and Ethan's fame grew. Paparazzi photos surfaced of him and Julian at a promotional event in L. Their smiles too close for comfort. Ethan called me immediately. "It's just press, Sam. Nothing more. I swear." I believed him, but the photos stung. I showed them to Dr. Ellis, who asked, "What does trust look like for you now?" I thought about it for days. Trust wasn't just about Ethan. It was about me trusting myself to walk away if I needed to. I started focusing on my art, landing a commission for a mural in the neighborhood. The project consumed me. Hours spent painting vibrant figures under a rainbow sky. Ethan visited the site one day, his eyes wide. "This is incredible, Sam. You're incredible." I smiled. Paint smudged on my cheek. "I'm finding my way back to me." He nodded, his expression earnest. "I want to be part of that journey, if you'll let me." I let him, but I kept my guard up. We spent more time together, rebuilding slowly. One night, we cooked dinner at my place, laughing as we burned the pasta. Felt like us again, but better, more honest, more equal. Then came an unexpected call from Julian. "I'm leaving Starfall's sequel," he said. "I wanted you to hear it from me. I'm moving to New York, starting fresh. I won't be in your way anymore." I didn't know how to feel relieved. maybe, but also grateful. Thanks for telling me, I said. I hope you find what you're looking for. After the call, I told Ethan. He looked relieved too, but there was something else in his eyes' resolve. I'm done with that life, Sam. The parties, the drama. I want us, and I want it real. We talked late into the night, laying out our fears, our hopes. For the first time, I felt like we were building something new, not just repairing the old. But I knew it wouldn't be easy. Love never was. The mural was nearly finished, a celebration of queer joy and resilience. As I added the final touches, Ethan stood beside me, his hand in mine. This is who you are, he said. And I'm so proud to know you. I squeezed his hand, my heart full but cautious. We were healing, but the road was long, and I was learning to love myself as much as I loved him. The mural's unveiling was a triumph. The neighborhood came alive with music, speeches, and pride flags waving under the spring sun. My artwork, bold figures dancing under a rainbow sky, drew gasps and applause. Ethan was there, his smile wide, but he stayed in the background, letting me shine. You did this, he said later, as we walked home. You're unstoppable, Sam. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in months. I'm trying to be. Our relationship was stronger, but not perfect. We still had hard days, moments when doubt crept in. But we talked through them, leaning on therapy and honesty. Ethan took smaller roles, prioritizing time with me over fame. I kept creating, my art a lifeline to my own strength. One evening, we went back to Rittenhouse Square, the place where it all began. The street lamp glowed, just as it had 3 years ago. Ethan took my hand, his eyes soft. I almost lost you, he said. I'll never let that happen again. I looked at him, seeing the man I'd loved, but also the man he was becoming, someone who chose us over the spotlight. I'm here, I said. But I'm here for me too. He nodded, understanding. That's what I love about you. You're you, Sam. Always. We kissed under the street lamp, a quiet promise to keep building, keep growing. The pain of that anniversary party was still there, a scar that might never fade. But scars were proof of survival, and we were surviving together. As summer approached, I started planning a new project, a series of portraits celebrating queer love in all its forms. Ethan offered to help, scouting locations, carrying my supplies. Felt like a partnership, not just a romance. One night, as we sat on my couch, sketching ideas, Ethan turned to me. I want to renew our vows, he said. Not now, but someday. When we're ready. When you're ready. I smiled, my heart full. Someday, I said. But for now, let's just be us. He pulled me close, and for the first time in a long time, I felt safe. Not just in his arms, but in myself. A year after the party, I stood in my studio, surrounded by my portrait series. Each canvas told a story, couples, friends, families, all bound by love and resilience. The gallery opening was tonight, and I was nervous, but not afraid. I found my voice, my strength, and it showed in every brushstroke. Ethan was there, helping set up, his pride in me palpable. We'd come so far, rebuilding trust one day at a time. It wasn't perfect, nothing ever is, but it was real. We'd learned to listen, to fight for each other, to choose love over ego. The gallery filled with people, friends, family, strangers moved by the art. Mia and Lily flanked me, their support unwavering. Julian sent a congratulatory note, a small gesture that felt like closure. As the night wound down, Ethan pulled me aside. "I'm so proud of you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've always been the strongest person I know." I smiled, leaning into him. "We're stronger together." We stepped outside, the city alive around us. Philadelphia had been our backdrop, our witness, through heartbreak and healing. Under the stars, I felt a quiet certainty. Love wasn't a guarantee, it was a choice, a daily act of courage. I thought back to that anniversary party, the tears, the walk away. I'd walked back, not just to Ethan, but to myself. And that was the real victory. As we walked hand in hand, I knew we'd face more storms, but we'd face them together, with eyes open and hearts full. And that was enough.